Okay, we have a green box, we have a live counter ticking up, so we should now be live, which of course means welcome back to the Storytime Network, where we're back with some more Tales of Arise.
Hello.
Shion very kindly,
Are you just going to keep standing around or what?
Sorry, I'm
Yes.
Jesus, Shion, give me a fucking chance! Like, first she says, oh, I hate camping, and then, you know, like, maybe I am just gonna stand here, who knows? I don't know. I think I already,
That's your prerogative.
yeah. I think I already explored here.
okay.
Oh, the other really fun thing about Everspace 2 is that you're playing as a clone.
Okay.
Like you're essentially, what if the clone troopers got pensions? That's who you're playing as.
Okay. That sounds pretty cool.
Don't go charging off like that. Not half bad.
Could you try to be less patronizing?
I didn't mean nothing by it.
I'm also trying to remember the controls. That is the slight issue with having 2 weeks between between streams of it. They're leaving us alone. Yeah, playing as a clone in space, you know, sounds sort of like Imperial Ratch.
Yeah, I would, and also like, the whole game, like at least the part of the game I'm in, and admittedly I'm probably still in the tutorial, like the prologue section.
Yeah.
Like I can't use the warp gates. But like, you know, the entire game is essentially played in starships.
Okay. Alright. Is it like you're fighting like other starships or
Yeah,
just a
you're
general-
fighting other starships.
I won't
You're
forgive you.
essentially like you're in a post-war area, and the game starts in the DMZ between two rival factions, who are just way bigger than you
Okay.
for obvious reasons, and
Yeah.
you're just like an old clone who needs to get out of here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, because you're a former clone soldier, you're also not supposed to be in the demilitarized zone because that could break treaties,
Yeah.
You continue on in that
but you're
way.
just trying to make a life for yourself.
Something you wanted to say?
But they keep dragging you back in, I'm gonna guess.
Well, I mean, you get attacked by, you get captured by outlaws, your friend gets injured, said outlaws then try to give you, try to ransom you to the local military for a bounty, causing the military to fly in and start attacking the outlaws,
Yeah.
which then allows you to escape said outlaws.
Houses in a place like this. People really live all the way out here?
The whole area is just little villages. This one's Messiah 224.
Wait, I hear something. Sounds like people arguing.
Bureau agents. The Snake Eyes must be here. We should sneak past them. That was my original plan, since you all stick out so much.
What? The
Is this one
giant
of your
guy
people
with the
pals
metal
on it?
fist sticks
It's
out?
the Renans
Who
are
would have
making us do
guessed?
it.
Shocking.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, no, right?
This really
Shocking.
who you need to save your people's skin?
That's rich coming from the Bright Eyes, whose people are the reason we're in this mess in the
That's
first
enough.
place. But she started it!
3
mean-
centuries of resentment is too much to lay at a single person's feet.
Rinwell's not wrong.
Same goes for you,
He's
Shion.
not.
You can't ignore the past when speaking of the present. Now, what's going on in that village?
But at the same time, Shion is trying to help, even if it's for
If
her
I
own
were to
reasons.
guess, someone tipped off the
Yes.
Snake Eyes and they're here to make an arrest.
Ooh, I'm
better not be
going to
about to
planet
suggest we
for the
get
first
involved.
time.
I'm here for the Lord's head, and nothing more.
That go for you too, Elfin?
Oh
Why'd you
yeah.
come?
Before I jumped on the
Why?
jumped
To
in the
liberate
voice
this realm's
chat,
slaves, of
I
course.
noticed Card Shark was discounted,
Are
so I
you
bought
still a
that now.
slave?
Me?
Nice.
No.
And tell me what it means to live unshackled. I'll tell you what it means. It means living on your own terms, being your own master, thinking and making decisions for yourself, and being prepared to accept the consequences. Understand?
Yeah.
Hard Shark is so
I
good.
think so.
I hope you get a chance to actually play
So
it.
prove it to
Mm.
me.
Shion.
Don't start with me. I'm not going, and that's that.
If it's not a particularly like
understand.
intensive game,
Just
then
wait here with
I might
Ring
be able
Light
to
till we get
download it
back,
on my
okay?
laptop and
You're
start
going
playing
in
it
without
there.
the sword?
It's not
Looks to me
intensive,
that
but
way.
I feel like you
This is
can't
my
play it on
choice,
a track
after
with the
all.
trackpad.
Your choice?
Well, I
Listen
wouldn't
to
be.
yourself.
I never use my
Okay.
trackpad for. Well, I very
Sword's
rarely
useless
use my
to me
trackpad
without
for my
someone to
laptop
use it.
because I hate
You understand
trackpads.
why I was
Out
like,
there and
wait,
put
hold
our
on.
whole mission
Yeah,
in
no, I
jeopardy.
absolutely understand. But yeah, no, I
But
hate
I need
using
us all to make it
trackpads.
safely to Cysloden.
Too many sacrifices have already been made. We came here to put a stop to any more.
You've
Like mine at least
You
has
sacrificed
like
something too,
defined
huh?
left
Hide
and
somewhere
right
until it's
buttons.
over. You
My
hear me?
mum's laptop doesn't even have that, so it's a fucking pain in the ass to try and
Damn those
right click.
Renans. I hate seeing Danon suffering under them.
Yeah, no, because it was much easier to play on controller,
Hmm.
but you probably could get away with keyboard and mouse.
Anyone who
I mean, I
fails to
could still
cooperate
use
will be
controller. I
arrested
mean,
and
I've,
tried as a traitor to the realm.
either connect my PS4 controller up
Damn
with
it.
USB
Some
or
rat must have
by
sold us out
Bluetooth.
again.
You there! You want me to haul you up on suspicion of civil disobedience?
But I didn't.
What? Leave him alone!
What happened to being sneaky?
Dares defy the orders
No,
of his lordship?
no,
No, you
obviously not.
slave!
We can't use the blazing sword this close to the villagers. They could get hurt. But there are too many agents. Zephyr?
Law. Is that you?
What's going on?
And
Are
look,
we supposed
it's
to be
the
fighting them?
I wonder
You're
who
alive.
that, person with a natural
What are
design
you
is.
doing here? The realm of Cyslodia doesn't tolerate civil dissidents like you.
Also, hi, Bryce Pappenbrook.
Law.
Yep.
I hereby
That's not
detain you
law.
in the name of his lordship.
He doesn't have a funny hat or a pet bear.
Zephyr? What the hell?
Zephyr!
Here they come! Come on! I'll blow you to smithereens!
I'm going in! You picked the wrong fight! Here I come!
Look, I'm just gonna leave Zephyr to fight Law for the time being, because I don't think Zephyr can die.
Probably not, but you know.
It's over!
Admittedly, I don't think he's actually fighting back at this stage, but
You're mine!
I mean, would he though?
probably not. I don't know.
Where are you going?
I'm definitely gonna have to do some grinding, I think.
Probably.
Definitely managing to do damage, but not
Oh,
that
Fuzzy.
quickly. Hey, Fuzzy.
I live. Well, allegedly.
I mean, that's the only kind of allegedly.
No, like my ass somehow caught a cold on top of everything that's been going on.
Oof.
It's probably not COVID.
Hang on, Zephyr. Why won't you
I
fight?
did it to myself.
That soldier, someone
What happened was I was taking the dog out in the morning, as you do.
Yep.
What are you...
Oh, well, I'll be in and out since it's just like it's not a full walk. I'll be in and out. So I decided to just go out in my PJs.
Oh.
I believe it's in the low single digits. And my dog decided to take a long time, so I was out there for like 10-15 minutes. In my PJs, and then I was like delirious and dying, so I was like, I'm freezing, even though the heater's on, I must have a fever. Turns out, I just didn't go check, and the heater was in fact off the whole time.
Oh no. Bloody.
So I literally spent all day, after spending 15 minutes in low single digits, I spent the rest of the day in low double digits just because I forgot to check whether the heater was on or not, and then, well, the results are as you see before you.
Also, Law is Zephyr's son,
Yes.
and Rinwell just KO'd him.
Because she's a wizard.
Mhm.
She's a wizard, Harry.
We don't talk about that property here.
Well, we do, but in
Enemy
very negative
reinforcements.
terms.
And yes, we talk about it differently here.
The villagers will get
Also-
blast. We need to fall back.
Oh, for crying out loud.
This is something I've been meaning to bring up, but I was like
Without me.
indisposed when the chapter actually came out.
Alphen, there's
Shanks can see pretty far into the future, huh?
Guess
Yeah,
so.
Shanks is genuinely fun.
Forgive me.
He's not only can he see pretty far into the future, he did one shot. Something's occurred to me. The four emperors, right? I'm pretty sure, like, with the 3 out of 4 of the 4 emperors were old and busted.
We've waited all night. but
Yes.
Nobody's shown up.
no sign of
And
Zephyr
past their
or enemy
primes.
pursuit.
Mhm.
So,
Which
what's
Yeah.
the plan now?
does certainly
You really need to ask.
explain
We could
why
rescue Zephyr.
If
they were taken out
under
so easily.
arrest, they'll have taken him to
So
Cyslodia,
easily?
the capital city.
Well, Big Mom and Kaido.
Relatively.
I can't
Relative
believe
to,
Zephyr
like,
never
I
told
mean,
us we had
relative
a
to
son.
Whitebeard, who was well past his prime,
Crows knew about it.
Big Mom and Kaido kind of went out like little bitches.
Village of all places.
Big
Some
Mom,
coincidence,
yes.
huh?
Kaido, I still say, like, fucking,
Those fireworks you pulled out
like,
of your hat back there.
ran through the vast majority of the heroes
What the hell are
before
you
Luffy
doing?
could
I've
finally
never
take
heard
him
of a
down.
Well,
day
no.
But it
passed
still
after
took a new
us.
form.
Are you
They
around?
took,
Hell, I
Cat and Dog,
No, of course not. Renan's eyes
plus,
lit up when
well,
he
the,
was
the,
All the scabbards.
And
all
Um,
the scabbards, but let's be real, the scabbards were kind of jobbers anyway, with the exception of Cat and Dog.
After all.
So the scabbards, and then Zoro got a real good hit in.
Sorry.
Yes.
And then it was basically just a Luffy party from there. Like, no, there was one round with Yamato in between, but it was like 3 minutes of playtime with Luffy after
my
that.
family, my people.
And I mean, to be
They were once
fair,
known as
Looney
villages.
Tunes Luffy.
Hmm.
Yes, no, Looney Tunes Luffy obviously is.
A Dan and
Because I
Really?
mean,
Up until now, I'd
let's
only
be
known
honest.
No.
them in
Looney
stories
Tunes
and
Luffy is
rumors.
the only way Luffy should ever fight from here on
Well,
out
now
because
I've
it's
seen one with my
funny.
own eyes. I suppose I'll
If
have
you
to
look at
believe
his past fights, the only difference is that he's Looney Tuning the environment as well as himself. Because let's be real, Luffy's entire fighting style has been Looney Tunes
Yeah.
since day
My
one.
ancestors were persecuted.
There's
and
also
targeted for their gifts.
his attitude as well. He's a lot more like
all these
trolling with
centuries,
the Looney
keeping their
Tunes bullshit
existence
in
secret
Gear
even
5.
from the Resistance. My mom
I
and
think
dad
it's just
drilled it
'cause
into me
the-
that I was
He
never,
just likes
under
what he can
any
do with it.
circumstances,
But no, there's another
anyone
thing.
hung out
No,
around
but
us.
my point with Shanks was, first of all, Shanks is obviously the strongest as of now, because, like, you know, he's the only one who's not old and busted.
I don't know. One second I saw Zephyr about to get
But
killed,
no,
and the
the
next
only this gave me the potential for the single valid explanation I will accept for
Dan and
Shanks
Axel are-
losing an arm to an
If the
East Blue
Renans
Sea
knew
King.
such a threat existed,
Cheers.
there'd be hell to pay.
He saw far enough into the future that
Lords with this information,
it turned out losing
I'm
an
a
arm was
traitor and an
optimal.
outcast at this point. Or did you forget?
That is literally the only explanation. Because anything else, like, in less than a decade, he went from
Didn't you ever want to
getting
use it to help your
jobbed
people?
while visiting his baby
Don't
mama
talk like you know the first thing about me, Brennan.
to
That's enough.
being the one who jobs.
I am the one who.
Listen,
I am
all I
he
care
who
about is
jobs.
taking out the lords, okay?
To be fair, that still means
There's
he's
no doubt
taking
what
the
her
loss.
people want too. Using her powers to help do it only makes
I think
sense.
the term would more be,
Makes
he used
sense
to be
for
the
who?
one
He
who
jobs other people.
Besides,
He used to be
Zephyr
the one
comes
who
first.
jobs, now he's the one who
Can't just
squashes.
abandon him.
Doesn't
is
sound
the
as
bigger-
happy.
He is
He
now
is the bigger fish.
Also, I
You're
wouldn't
going to
say
Zephyr,
what
right?
happened there, him getting
So,
jobbed.
you're
Like,
going
once
to
he
need
took
my
it
powers to do
seriously,
it.
he, like,
I don't want
one or
anyone
two
else
of
to
his
die.
crew members took out the entire bandit gang.
No, but like, why didn't he
sure?
just conquers the Sea King away
He did at
first?
the end.
Well, no, why didn't he just do that first and
Let's
then
get
go
back
in
to the
after
village.
Luffy?
We need
Because
to find
it's
out what
funny.
Also, is Shanks that smart?
No. Also, you have to
No,
keep
but
in mind.
if he can see far enough into the future to realize that the railgun is going to kill his friends, then surely he can see far enough to the future to realize, oh, that
Wrong.
giant thing's going to bite my arm off.
Nothing,
Maybe
just
I should use armament, or
surprised by
conquerors,
things like
or,
this.
just dodge.
wouldn't it be?
Anything
It's still right
other
after all.
than let it bite the arm off.
Maybe
That's
he
what's
wanted
weird.
one less
A lot
limb
of
to,
time's
limb
passed
to
since we
work out.
arrived in
Like,
Cyslodia.
his gym
You'd
routine
figure
was
the sun
taking
would've
too
come
much
up
of
by
his
now.
day. So he went,
Oh,
you know
right.
what? I'm gonna
It's not
lose
like
this
he's
arm.
fucking
I'll only have
Colourful,
3
is it?
limbs I need to
To be
work
honest,
out.
I
It'll go
completely
great.
forgot.
I mean, to be
Uh,
fair,
basically,
let's
it's
not
always
pass
hard in this realm.
Shanks to go.
Huh?
You know what'd be funny?
It's been that way forever. It never gets any brighter outside, even in the morning.
Also,
So it's always dark all
we
day
still
long?
don't have proof that Conqueror's
How?
Hockey works
How is that even
off
possible?
of
Did the remnant
narrative
cause this?
rules.
Of course they did. It's
How so?
complicated to explain, though. It'd be easier to just get the
It's
Cyslodia
funnier
you
and
can see what's
cooler
going
to
on
have
for
him lose
yourself.
an arm than not.
I'll take your word for it. But right now, finding Zephyr comes first.
It's just like, it's literally in his 25-year-old series that is literally older than both me and Mill. That is the one plot
Huh.
hole. Yeah, One Piece is literally older than both of us. It's one of the few things that make us feel young.
I don't know
I-
how I feel about this.
I wonder
My
how Zephyr
condolences
feeling.
again.
If that law guy is his son, they shouldn't be rough with him.
I want to believe that. But those two didn't look like they're exactly on good terms. Actually, now I'm curious. Can Danon
But
enlist in
yes,
Zephyr
I
too?
also saw, and now I can't believe that this is canon, but like, I saw in the...
Did you see the
Chat,
spoilers?
No, I didn't see the spoilers, because I'm probably... I've made a habit of just reading the scanlated chapter.
It's out. The
On-
scanlation's
I
out.
was practicing a magic
I know it is.
incantation.
I've made a habit of reading it on the same day as the Jump
Mm.
Plus
Is it
stuff.
anything like the spells that
Well,
people use
remember,
today?
there's no Jump Plus stuff this
Not
week
quite.
because it's
It
Golden
takes
Week.
time for me to finish my chants. So I'm
Wait, then
practicing
why is the
saying them
scanlation
quickly
out?
and
I
accurately,
don't
Because
know.
they're
just
always
in
a week.
case.
The scanlations are always a week ahead.
Always tried my best
Right,
not to use
right.
magic if I can avoid it up until now.
Well, then I guess I'm
You and
gonna
your
read
family
it today.
keep in hiding, right?
But
Because
no,
you're a
the
mage.
other thing I was gonna
Where did
say
all the
is
other
that,
mages
like, years of,
Sorry, I didn't
like,
realize
literal
what
decades of series, and there's one plot hole in the entire thing.
It's okay.
Maybe Shanks didn't think that even without armament hockey and, using conquerors to get it away, maybe he just didn't
about
think
my
it'd take
magic.
his arm off.
You want to keep it a secret,
That
right?
is also a valid explanation, because he do be a
A
himbo,
little
though.
late for that after what happened in the
Like,
village.
maybe he thought he'd
don't you
just be
think?
tough enough without armament to go, alright, well, it probably can't
It's
take my
just-
arm off.
I didn't want to
Exactly, because,
die.
like, remember,
That's why I
this is a
used it.
Sea King
I
that
know.
Chapter 1 Luffy managed to one-shot.
Thank you
Yeah.
very
I'm
much.
pretty sure he could have, like, reasonably broken its teeth if he'd punched it instead of letting it bite him.
Is that owl okay?
Like this is
It's been
a
stiff as a board
series
for a
with
while
characters
now.
that are like
right.
consistently made of
I
iron.
wonder what's up with
Maybe just Shanks relied on
Come
that
here.
too hard.
It's okay. I won't hurt you.
That is another. That's the. I guess I have two
What
possible
happened?
explanations. I'm willing to accept.
I lost Hootle.
That's the other one.
Him, but he took off.
But yeah, also,
He's
did
right
not
too.
expect Dorian Broggy to actually be relevant.
Dan and owls conceal themselves when
Like,
they
I
get
thought they
ready.
were just, like,
I guess he's still
gonna
not
be
quite
relevant
figuring out
lore-wise. I
yet.
didn't think they were actually competent.
I should have been more careful with him.
Because, like, our only frame of reference for them was a very, very early chapter where all they did was fight each other and be funny.
Damn, he was that close?
To be fair, we also didn't realize what's-his-face was Zoro's mentor was also from Wano.
If you call his name, he might have
I'm pretty sure everyone called that the moment Wano was introduced.
Yeah, the moment there was a realization of, wait, there's a Japanese land?
Indeed.
Oh
It's
boy.
quite a relief.
Yeah, no, everyone was basically like, oh, Zoro's mentor and probably Zoro are also from there, huh?
Uh-huh.
Because, like, it's funny. Okay. Here's the question. Y'all think, what's Zoro's teacher, what's his face, just, like, had a fling, and that's where Zoro came from? Because, here's the thing. Isn't the guy who looks just like Zoro and was suspected to be either his father or grandfather the people that the teacher are related to?
Right, here goes!
I
Is
don't
that not-
know.
You know what? I'm gonna look this up right now, because, like, if so, then, Kuina's dad has some explaining to do.
Well, I think Kuina, he might also just be a retainer.
True, but I was, like, pretty sure that the names matched up. Hang on.
This one's mine.
Sword Rain Alpha!
Now.
Swallow Blade! Sword Rain Alpha!
Just turning attention back to the game for a second. I'm not gonna play with Rinwell until I've had a chance to. Oh god, she's got a lot of SP. I'm not playing with
Yes.
Rinwell until I've had a chance to actually like. I'm gonna start playing with her off screen, basically, so that I can get a chance to, you know, have a chance to get used to her.
Okay, no, never mind. The Zoro's teacher, they're descendants of Ryuma, not the one guy that looks like Zoro. They're the descendants of the other guy.
Yeah, that makes sense.
This ends now.
Consider yourself finished!
Hear me. Burning strike.
Oh, Fuzzy, did you see the new trail? There's a new trailer for Armored Core.
I'm waiting for one of my preferred Souls content creators to look at the trailer so I don't have to watch it twice.
Pretty difficult. Not only are they powerful,
All I know is that
the
a
range
certain
lets them
Austin
strike us
Walker
before
is
even
going to
get close.
lose his mind.
I can just disrupt astral art.
Look,
What do you
people
mean?
have been waiting for, like, people forget that FromSoft was a prolific developer long
no, I know.
before Demon Souls, so, like, there's definitely people. This is going to be very interesting to see the reception, because, like, Armored Core is kind of a different beast.
It is.
The thing is, I can only
I
use that
like
art
the
once.
way the game,
After I
like
use
the
it,
way the
it's
trailer
gone.
looked, made me go,
Also,
"Oh, I'm
when
excited."
I steal astral energy, the enemy will lose focus.
Because it's
Which
not
means they can't cast anything else
at
for a
all
while.
what I would like.
So not only can you steal their energy,
Like, I don't like
but
Souls
doing
because
so
it's so slow.
incapacitates them too? That's amazing, Rinwell. I didn't realize your magic could do so much.
Souls does not have to be
Something of a
slow.
secret technique within
No,
my clan,
'cause
so
Wolong
I kinda had to learn
exists.
it.
Well, no, I mean, like,
enemies that use incantations.
you can play through basically every Dark Souls game pretty quickly.
Yeah, it's
No,
tricky
I
to
mean
pull
like
off,
in
so
terms
you
of
can
like the
count
actual
on me.
gameplay loop. Like when I say slow, I mean
Do you always have to
frenetic
say an
versus
incantation
not.
before you cast an
Like
Yeah.
Ah,
I
okay,
don't really
yes,
add
like
that
any
how
makes
power or
sense.
anything.
Bloodborne has a
The
faster
reciting them
tempo
is what allows the astral energy to come together and flow through me.
than the Souls
It
games
takes
do.
time to complete.
That does seem to be
It
the
lets me use such
popular
strong
opinion.
magic in
Everyone's
the
still like Bloodborne's the
What happens if someone interrupts
best
you
Souls
while you're
game,
in
and
the
I'm
middle
still
of
like,
chanting?
keep my tempo.
Then I have to start over from
I
the
prefer the
Well,
slower and more
As soon as my
methodical tempo,
concentration breaks,
personally.
any
and that's
astral energy
totally
I've accumulated
fair.
disperses.
Got it. So once you start reciting, that's our cue to make
Like,
sure that no
what's it
enemies
called?
can get near enough to disrupt you.
Yeah, that would be appreciated. Although, I do have one fun trick up my sleeve.
Whoa, no, hold up.
Once I finish chanting a full incantation, I
Okay,
can hold on to a single astral
yes.
art without casting it right away.
The daimyo who is
So
suspected.
once the astral energy's in place, you
Okay.
can choose
Wait,
to
that
set
was
it off
that was
whenever you want.
that was
That's
confirmed.
amazing.
Yeah, I don't fully have the hang of it just yet, but I'm sure it'll come in handy sooner or later.
Excuse me, what? SBS for Volume 105 has the full details on Zoro's
Oh, yeah.
ancestry? Excuse me? Apparently, the Shimotsuki daimyo from Wano was Zoro's great uncle. His older sister was Zoro's great grandma.
Looks like we've spotted one of Hoodle's friends.
So, I didn't realize that was just out. That was just available information.
Okay, I thought that was like a thing that we knew.
No, it was in SBS Volume 105, which I think might be the latest volume.
You think they
Oh,
took
okay.
it away already?
Let me check.
What say we
Yeah,
go
Volume
after
105 is
Oasis
literally the volume that
villagers?
just came out, and it was in the
Someone's
SBS of
bound
that.
to report
Huh.
us no matter what we do, so we might as well.
So, we now have Zoro's family tree.
What? You heard
That
her.
was
She's got a
incredibly
plan.
anticlimactic, but I think I understand why it came out in SBS. Because they're already past Wano, and there wasn't
And what
really,
if there are
given
soldiers
the
lurking
pace of
about?
Wano, there wasn't
would've
really
followed us to the
room
cabin
for
already.
it.
Relax. The coast is clear.
Yeah,
And
those-
I can't think of any place in story where that would become relevant. And
Is
also,
she
I don't
always
think
like
Zoro
that?
cares very
I don't know
much.
how you
No,
managed to
Zoro
cope with her.
absolutely
Makes
does
you
not
think
give a
I'm
shit.
managing.
Well, that's the thing about Zoro's story. Like, Zoro's story does not care about family because that's not important. Like the way Sanji's story is
It's
about family.
just the one he's blood related to.
Hey. Hey.
Wait,
Like-
hold up. That means Zoro had a legitimate claim to Shogun of Wano.
Yeah, that's the funny thing.
Really, that would have been a really funny twist.
Yeah.
If they'd been like, hey, why don't you be our Shogun instead? And he's just like, Luffy, get in the ship and go. It'd just be like, Frankie, start the ship. Because that is absolutely something he would just bolt from.
Yeah, no. Imagine if Momo was like, "No, I need to come with you, even just for a little bit, to be like my dad." Okay, well, let's look up who the next Shogun will be. Follow this line down. Roronoa Zoro. What? Luffy, let's
What?
leave. And he tries to leave towards the ship, but because his direction's bad, he actually wanders towards the Shogun's palace.
Oh, that would be funny.
We have a new Shogun, everybody. Just,
I guess.
Okay. I feel like Oda missed an opportunity there. That would have been a really funny gag.
Huh?
Huh?
Also, there should be just like a random. I feel like Jump as a whole just doesn't capitalize on the gag of Zoro enough.
There should occasionally be. Well, no, I think that's more of a licensing issue, but yes, I do feel like occasionally Zoro should just show up in the background of other series.
Right, like just as like a like a Panda Man, or like in that vein.
You know what's funny? I'm pretty sure part of it might be to do with the fact that none of the current generation of jump authors just have the cojones to just ask Oda, hey, can we, like, put Zoro in the background?
You would think that Horikoshi would do it.
Yeah, cause like, I'm pretty sure Oda would just say, oh my god, that would be hilarious, do it.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Oda would be willing, but it's the problem would be someone else would have to ask. Also, how y'all feeling about Gojo being out after on parole?
I'm happy.
I don't know anything about Jujutsu Kaisen.
I'm happy enough, and he looked cool as shit. So.
How did he get more ripped?
He's had nothing to do in there. He's probably just been training.
It's supposed to be stasis.
Yeah, but we saw him just after he got sealed. He clearly knew what was going on.
That's fair. Yeah, I'm like
Like
did he just like work out the entire time he was in there?
What else was he gonna do?
Because he was jacked.
Yeah.
And to be fair, like, it's the first time we've seen him, I think maybe ever, without, like, his baggy, like, Jujutsu
Well,
high
no,
school
his casual clothes don't involve the baggy stuff.
Yeah.
And we've seen him in the casual clothes. Doesn't he just wear like a t-shirt when he's going casual?
Yeah, he wears a short-sleeved, like, button-up over it, unbuttoned, so we still don't really get a good glimpse of him.
Got it.
Also, how did he get from, like, 8,000 kilometers below sea level to wherever he needed to go in, like, under a second?
He can teleport.
When was this revealed?
Always! That's what he did with fucking... That's how he brought Yuji to his fight with, Jogo. Like, he can genuinely teleport.
How does that even work, mechanically? Has that ever been explained?
I believe it's a function of, I think it's red? You'd have to check the wiki, like, I think it does try... It tries and explains it, but to be brutally honest, Gojo's powers are bullshit, and we all know it.
Well, no. His base powers make perfect sense. Like, no, it's funny. His base powers actually make a certain degree of mathematical sense.
Where's the owl?
I believe you. I just don't know enough about this series.
Where's the owl? Oh, it's in the fucking basket.
Woohoo!
Ooh.
Looks like we've spotted
Don't make it get out of the basket if it doesn't want to.
Little's friend.
Get him out of the basket, Mel.
It's fine. It wanted to get out of the basket.
Yeah.
Once we stole its wolf ears.
Yeah.
Hey. What?
I'm not prepared for the end of Cradle in a month.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be sad.
Yeah, that will. But what do you think about the captain?
I'm not reading it till there's at least 2 or 3 books on the table.
That's fair.
So
His books lend themselves much better to binging anyway.
That's true. I can agree with that.
I can't argue, considering after I finished reading it, I was like, oh, I really want to read more now.
Interesting.
Any interesting cameos? Like, is it completely isolated like his other, like Traveler's Gate, or is it more like
as of
Cradle?
right now, it is.
Good.
See, that's not as interesting to me, because that means I'll have to read it on the basis of the characters, and like... Again, apparently this is just like... me being weird. I don't know. Have you ever like read something where you feel like the worst part of the story is the characters?
You don't think the Snake Eyes will hold
What do
it
you
against
mean?
them, do you?
If anything,
Or rather, have you ever found yourself reading a story and find that you don't actually like any of the viewpoint characters, but you love the world and the mechanics of the setting.
Yes.
Look, I'm gonna be real with you. I'm kind of reaching that
looks
point
like
with
the
Dresden
zoo we were told
Files.
about.
But in general,
An opponent like this could be
I find like I probably have a disproportionate amount of series where I just don't like the characters, but I keep reading for the setting.
Mm. How's the... So, Dad's been taken. You have to figure it out. What's...
I'm just gonna kill some Gazoogles first for a quest. I'm sure Zephyr will be fine.
Yeah. He had no death flags.
Absolutely
Those
not.
were-
It's not like
Those
he.
were life.
It's not like he
Those
joined
were
our
life
party.
flags.
It's not like he joined our party, but not really.
Right. It's not like he's a guest character. Fuzzy, have you played Tales of Arise?
Hi, Hoodle.
I have not, though I do think I own it. I just haven't played it.
Got it. Gotcha.
I'm like, here's the thing. I tried to get into Tales. Just something about the
Tales?
combat system just does not.
You don't like rocking the combat's really hard,
safe to travel in.
and like even within the Tales series, I struggle with
This is what we
a
were
variety,
asked to
like
get, wasn't it?
with the different combat systems.
Finally.
What is it?
I found an ingredient for that new recipe.
It probably doesn't help that my introduction to the Tales series was probably the most bland one.
Oh, Zysteria?
I love that you just knew Minute One. That's the one I was talking about.
I mean, the minute you said the most bland, that's kind of the answer.
Yeah,
I mean,
I think I got them for free or like heavily discounted.
yeah.
And then I was just like, well, I might as well go in order.
Till next time.
And then I started playing Zysteria. And I was just like, oh my god, this is just...
I guess.
It feels like...
Oh,
I mean, there's a difference between fairy tale and like boring. You know what
It's
I mean?
like, it literally feels like someone went to the Wikipedia page for the hero's journey and, like, put some names instead of categories. And that's it. It's just so bland, none of the characters are interesting, and the protagonist is like... He makes blank slate isekai protags seem like they have rich and vibrant personalities.
Huh?
So, to be fair, I also bounced off a Tales game, but I think I bounced off, like, one of the best ones, Berseria.
Vesperia?
Berseria.
No, there's Berseria and there's Vesperia. I believe he's talking about Berseria.
Berseria has a really annoying combat. That is a combat system I do not understand at all.
But I've been enjoying this a lot more.
They reacted just like we expected.
Yeah. Do you think we'd end up like that if we had to treat everyone with suspicion?
It's like the bitter cold has frozen the hearts of those who live here.
I feel like Tales games suffer from requiring a lot of, like, legacy skill.
You're the friends of that man.
Like, I feel like each new Tales game kind of assumes that you've played other Tales games.
I mean, to be fair, that makes a
Answer
little
our
bit of
questions
sense.
And we'll leave you in peace. Where did the agents take our...
Yeah, but it also means, like, the only way for a new player to really hop into the series is to get in on one of the really old ones, which have their own suite of problems.
We haven't even crossed the street without looking first. Why are they after us? Come on, we're wasting time.
You'll need to
Also,
hurry if you want to get your friend back.
did you guys also not realize that
Hey, keep quiet. You're trying to get
there
us
was
killed. How the hell?
like
Go on, report me.
an
See if I
actual
care.
beef between
I thought this Cyslodin was a
the
city.
first
Some
generation
prison
of
camp?
like indie darlings and JRPGs.
So when you're forbidden to move freely like
No.
we are, there isn't
What do you
much
mean?
difference.
Did you not see that one
Parents and
like
siblings were taken
series
by the
of
snake eyes.
headlines
Any of them
where a bunch of I forget which one it was
All I
exactly
know, they're long dead.
was saying that like they didn't like the term JRPG because
Oh,
Anyway,
it's
kill as many
Yutaka
snake
Amano
eyes as
now.
you can for me while you're there.
He's the one who said it.
yeah, but then I like
All right.
went back and actually like
Cysloden
looked
it
at
is.
some of the developer interviews with like at like conventions with some of the people who basically created the modern indie scene, and they were just being incredibly rude about it as well.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing, right? Is like, I don't know. There's a level of weird, like,
People are really
I
terrified
don't know,
of
like
snake
it's
eyes.
I just like I remember like there was being
They may be Lord
a
Ganabel's lackeys,
dev, a
but for
Japanese
all
dev
intents and
asking one of
purposes,
the indie
it's
devs. I think it was
Snake
one
Eyes
of the
who
guys
control the
who
realm.
developed one of those
One wrong look,
mind-bendy platformers that
So Zephyrs
became
been
very
moved to
popular.
Ryan.
Let's cross
Huh?
our fingers we catch up with them on the way.
Ryan.
I mean,
It was one of
the plan was
those.
always for me to take
And
the Abyss to
he was
Cyslo
just
then
like
anyway.
so condescending, and he was like, "Well, no, the era of
Oh?
long
There's a forest
RPGs,
ahead
a la
past the faraway
JRPGs, are
village.
over.
I won't
We are
let
the
you
new
beat
hotness." And I
or
was just
evade
like,
this.
More Zeugles?
"Y'all are getting a bit high off your own pot
We
news, if you
hunt
know
in
what I'm
packs
saying."
led by the biggest,
I mean,
meanest
I love
one.
me a
My
JRPG, a
friends and I
long
got cornered
form.
by one on our way to
Yeah,
Colourful.
and it's just like
That's how
very
it got split
odd that
up.
there was an
We just
entire
have to keep our wits about us.
period of time that completely passed me by where people were just being like, no. Like, I understand JRPGs and as a medium inherently they have a lot of problems.
Let's make sure we're
Right,
prepared
but I
before
think
we go
the
further.
main thing that like Amano was getting at was like he didn't. There's. It's not that there's baggage, but like there shouldn't need to be a distinguishment
Just let Shion know.
because there's no fundamental distinguishment other than like there's a legacy to that term.
That's true, though I do think there are some flavor considerations to be made. It's one of those things where language is an evolving thing, and while I think
I need to send you a clip
JRPG
from. I need to send you a clip because Waypoint.
No,
talked
I
about this a
remember
little
what
bit.
I remember what Amano said. I don't remember what the other guy said.
There, I need to send you. I think you'd really like this clip from Waypoint Radio where they do talk about this, like this interview actually. But the ideas that they were getting at was like there used to be a benefit, but in the recent era, it doesn't seem like there is.
I only have one pair of hands, you know.
You know what I mean?
No, I get it. I'm just like I'm trying to articulate this properly, but it feels like to me like it's one of those things where there have been non-Japanese JRPGs made, if you know what I'm saying.
Right.
Like that's the direction I'm approaching this from. Like there are mechanics that were perfected in Japan that have been like wholesale ported over to by Western developers, and that's what I'm trying to get at. I'm just not articulating well. Also, I might be feverish and delirious, so you know, take what I say with a grain of salt.
Talk a moment?
I think the point, like, the point that what's his face was getting at, Mono was getting at is like, if that's the case, then we should just call them RPGs and then just cite the thing that they're really like leaning into. Because JRPGs as a whole, despite being roughly the same, are not.
I don't know,
They still have they are different within the genre.
What if there's an emergency?
An emergency?
What if one of us suddenly got sick?
No, I agree with that.
Give
It's
us more
just
fine
like
arts and we'd move on.
there's a need
That's
for
just
more
what it is.
granular.
But the person doing the asking, it may not
Right,
be
Like,
but we
there's
easy
can
need.
leave.
to approach you.
There's need.
Like,
No, no, no. What I was trying to say is there's need for an additional letter, but J is not one of them. Like, you call them ARPGs, call them CRPGs, just call them based on what particular niche they're in, as opposed
Right.
to making it a
or
region.
like what makes them what makes them as an
trying to
RPG
say is,
unique, or
If
what
we're
is it,
going to be traveling together,
or
it
if
makes
you're
more
trying to
sense
use like
do
a
it as
seminal thing,
companions,
like
rather
what
than
is the thing that makes them
beating at each
seminal?
other's throats the whole time.
Like what are they pulling
I
on
still
from
don't
the
get it.
seminal or the example?
But I do
Also,
understand
it does
whatever
make me a
is,
bit confused at
obviously
times though,
must mean
because
a lot
like
to you.
ARPGs are
I'm
two
not trying
things,
to make things more difficult for you just for the sake of it.
Yes.
which
So
really you think,
I'll make
yeah,
more
because
of an effort
like
to talk every
there's
now and
action
then,
RPGs and then
even when we don't
like
have to.
alternative reality games.
Abby?
Yes.
no,
Augmented
no,
reality games.
no. I'm saying that
I
like
am.
there's
If you
two
don't
schools.
mind,
There's
I'm going to get some
so
sleep.
Diablo
Have a good
likes,
night.
which are the point and click active combat
Think we get it,
RPGs,
huh?
are
I,
called ARPGs.
I remember
But
Diablo.
I think it's
but
time to go
like
to
Dark
sleep.
Souls like Souls likes and like action RPGs are also called ARPGs. I don't know what A in the Diablo ARPG stands for, but you'd
How long
think
do
we
you
could
plan on
figure
just
out
sitting
a
around
better
doing
way of
nothing, Alphen?
Well, I
categorizing
mean,
things.
Because it looks
so
to me
Diablo
like you're
is
just
an
getting
AR,
Smith
is an
time
action
getting
RPG.
ready.
It is.
I'm not procrastinating.
But
if
it's
that's what you're
not.
implying.
But again, that we need to get
Sure
more
looks like it to
granular
me.
because, like,
Well,
You had
it's
me
also
worried you'd
if
forget
Dark
some.
Souls and Diablo are both
Again.
AR action
I
RPGs,
know.
then
You
like
need to keep reminding
there's
me.
very little
I'm already over
like
here.
aside from the RPG elements, they don't have a lot in common.
I saw you talking with that Bright Eyes before lights out last night. Mind telling
You
me
get what
what
I'm
you
saying?
discussed?
Nothing.
yes, I
particular.
do. I think the thing that
she would open up a little if I
like
tried
Diablo
talking to
is special because it
What? Her?
it is one of these
She got
examples, right?
I know we're working with
It
her,
is. Mhm.
but that doesn't mean we have to play nice
But it's
with her.
also
Look,
it's
we're
the
all going to
looter
be
shooter
traveling
before the
together for a
looter
while.
shooter.
It's only going to make things harder if we're at each other's throats.
You know
Um,
what? I've never
all we
thought
do
of it
is
that
point
way, but
orders
that
at each other
makes
instead
far
of
too
working
much sense.
together.
like
That's not
in
much
many
different than how it
ways,
is for most of us. I
Borderlands
think
is
it's
cribbing
important that we all
from
understand each
Yeah,
other and
Diablo.
no,
work
it's
together
like
as equals,
Diablo
if
is
it's at all
basically where the
possible.
idea of loot and loot rarity and like loot pinatas came from. So yeah, that makes. I can't believe I never made
I
that
don't get
connection
the
before
feeling
this.
she
Yeah,
needs to
no,
do the
100%. I mean, and still like there
As soon as
Borderlands is
Zephyr
now is what's be
disappears,
called looter shooter,
all
right?
hell
So like
breaks loose.
what is Diablo? It's
We can't get anything
you
done
know,
if
it's
things
a
stay
looter
tense like this.
RPG or just a
What the
looter like
hell
a
am I
dungeon
supposed
crawler.
to do? Well,
Yeah, I think
guess I'll
dungeon
just
crawler
have
is
to keep hammering
probably
away
a
at them and see how
better
it
way of
goes.
describing the Diablo like. But then the dungeon crawler also has other connotations. Though I think no, I'm pretty sure dungeon crawlers are pretty standardized.
They are.
But yeah, that also brings up another branch of RPGs. There's non-looter shooter RPGs. Like just RPGs that are also first-person shooters. There's certainly fewer of them, but like Far Cry is probably the most commonly cited example. On the subject of first-person shooter RPGs, I've been playing Ghostwire Tokyo.
What do you think about it?
Oh, you have thoughts?
I played a little bit of it, but I'm curious to hear what you think.
All right, I'll go first, but then I'd like to hear your thoughts as well. It's been very fun so far.
Mm-hmm.
I think I think what they do with. I'm pretty sure. I'm like not sure. I might just be stupid, but I'm either my version of the game has the weirdest sound glitch, or the protagonist is deaf.
What do you mean?
Is the protagonist not deaf?
Come on, guys.
Like how
We've
they
got lots to do.
the protagonist can't.
So I didn't get far enough to get a read on that.
I mean, that's like established very early on. Like by the time he gets to the hospital.
I don't remember. I kind of just started. My brain just turned off.
So I think I see where you have problems with it. They did try and make it into a full-on open world collectathon-esque.
Yes, and that is kind of, and that is where they lost me.
Yeah. So here's the thing. I don't mind that when the other aspects of the game are good enough to hook me, and look, there is literally an ongoing side quest where you can just feed dogs.
Yes, no, that is
just have a
great.
city full of Shiba Inus to yourself.
Yes,
and if that's the song they're making me do, then I'm for it.
I don't disagree with you. I think that is a good.
I think they do very interesting. They have a great accessibility option. They literally have an option to make it less startling.
Which means
So like they have a low jump scare option, which is very nice. I really like the fact that the very first basic enemies are Slenderman ass MFers.
Like
And
my
that's very cathartic for me.
My qualms with the game are not with its visual design or like what are they pulling from? My issue is more in how would I describe it.
They tried to go for mass appeal.
They're trying to go for mass appeal and don't mean it's weird enough. And also like it doesn't feel like there should be more to do. Like there should be more like magic available to you.
It's
or like
so
you should be able to use your Because like I got all 3 magic types before I kind of dropped off.
Looks like it could be
Oh, I just barely got the second, so you got further than me. I played 1 session.
Like, oh, I got the 3 magics. Like the 3 different types of magics. And like
It's freezing. I can barely feel
do
my
I think
toes.
Let's find a way back up quickly then.
there's a level of this where I'm just like, I want to do more. Let there be more shit to do.
But also at the same time, less stuff to do.
Right, like I want there to be more like wacky shit to do with like the powers, but also I want less open world. You know what I mean?
One of the issues it suffers from is, in fact, first installment syndrome. I think they were just playing it safe, right? Like the open world stuff is for mass appeal, like a simpler combat system.
Yeah, and also like there's a level of it where it's just like you don't feel like the mobility of it. Like I don't feel fast. I don't feel quick.
Well, I actually, to a certain extent, I don't think you're supposed to feel fast. You're kind of just a dude.
Yeah, but I also like.
I mean, you're like, playing a dude with another dude deep inside him.
Yeah.
Oh my.
Yes.
Someone use it. I'm on mobile, so I can't.
I'm playing the game. I can't.
Okay, fair enough.
But I don't know how to describe it. It's like they're like, have you gotten the ability to grapple off of
Birdman? Yes.
Like I almost want there to be like a.
Isn't one of the upgrades that you can just summon your own Burbmen to grapple off of whenever you want?
I didn't get that far. If there is,
yeah, I think that. Yeah, so I do think it does open up in that respect. Like one of the abilities is literally it takes a. It's like gated, but you can get it like pretty early on. Like as long as you get like the 7 Magatama and then dump it all into that, you can just like I think you can Spider-Man your way through the entire game.
But like there should be more like. I don't know, like, there's just...
No, I feel you. I wish they had. I wish the stealth elements were a bit more developed.
Well, I don't know, like, there's a way of it's like the tempo, like again, the tempo of the game just
I
feels
think this is
wrong.
again we're again with the we've again come to the place where apparently it's just a tastes thing, because to me, I really like the slower, methodical like tempo of the game.
Right. Okay, that's fair. Because like,
Right,
again,
I think that's where we're, because like, remember, I didn't grow up on like the Quakes and the Dooms and the like fancy shooters. I didn't grow up on shooters at all. So to have a shooter that is more slow and everyone like takes their time and like the enemies kind of like just line up and attack you one by one like nice little stormtroopers, that's just like, that's much more pleasant for me. Because honestly, the biggest drawback for the game for me initially was that it was a first-person shooter. Because I'm just not good at those.
Like we won.
so like I grew up on like Call of Duty Zombies and like playing a bunch of
That'll do it.
like a bunch of zombies.
Yeah, you grew up on like the fast-paced horde shooter.
And like Left 4 Dead was a thing when I went to college.
Yeah, like I said, fast-paced horde shooter. I'm pretty sure that's that entire genre.
Yeah, and like, you know, I played the original Titanfall when it was in beta. You know?
Yeah, no, you're just used to playing the really fast stuff, whereas the first shooter I played was Project Snowblind by Idle.
Wow.
On the PS2.
Yeah, no, huh?
So it was a while ago, but at the same time, what's funny is that was very much a shooter that had very low enemy density. And a lot of it was stealth-based. So it's kind of funny that the very first shooter I played was one that was more methodical and slow-paced.
Right, like I grew up on Twitch shooters.
Yes, and I did not, and I think that's why Ghostwire Tokyo appeals to me so much, is because, like, it's the sort of shooter I grew up with, and, like, I like everything else about it, right? Like, I like the presentation, I can, like, sometimes it's nice to mindlessly grind. Like, I play maybe one open-world game every, like, 6 or 7 months. So, like, I guess Ghostwire Tokyo is gonna be it for me, and then I'll just, like, not play any open-world games for a while, but, like, sometimes I like getting into a open-world game that has good presentation and just, like, grinding it out. So, like, I think it does just come down to a personal preference thing.
Which is fair.
I do understand that the open-world elements were unnecessary, I think. Like, the collectathon elements, there were better ways to implement that.
Right, but I think that's just how these things go at some level.
That's just, yeah, they have to put the mass appeal in just for to satiate their publishers, if nothing else.
Whereas, like, I think a game like Tales of Arise, just to get us back to the game a little bit, like, that's a good example of, like, there is an open world, but it's zone-based, and so, like, it feels more manageable.
Yeah, I think that's really something a lot of games could benefit from going back to, is, like, you can have an explorable game that's zone-based.
I mean, did you ever play the Hitman 1, 2, 3 World of Assassination games from IO?
I've been grinding Freelancer for like the past 2 months.
Like, that is the quintessential, like, what you just said.
I agree with you to some extent, but I do feel that I do like it when they're, like, interconnected. I think that the Hitman zones are a bit isolated for my taste, but which makes sense. That's just the sort of game it is. But I do think that on a per zone basis, you're absolutely right. Hitman World of Assassination is about as good as it gets in terms of level design, because those levels are very well designed.
Right, and also, like,
I'm still discovering new things all the time, even though I've run through like those maps like dozens of times each. I'm still like discovering new stuff. So it's like, yeah, agree, it's very well designed.
And like, but the thing is, like, it also feels manageable in a way that like a game, like a world, like something like God, what's that arcane game that just came out? Deathloop. Like Deathloop feels too much, partially because it's so open. And I don't, you know.
It's interesting you say that, because Deathloop is also, like, kind of, in recent memory, one of the more zone-based open-world games.
Well, it's zone-based in that it's like you have different areas, but it's open, it's very open comparatively.
Yes, no, because every zone is essentially its own, and also it doesn't help that each zone has 4 different times of day. Yeah, okay,
Right.
no, I can. It's essentially a 16. It's like 16 levels, essentially.
Yes, and so like I get, because of who I am as a person, I just end up getting so overwhelmed.
It's very easy to get lost in the sauce in that game. I agree. And just
What
like,
do you think,
there's-
Noel? Because I think you're the one who's played it a lot.
I have certainly I've played it on stream. I've done enough to do the story. I wouldn't necessarily say I've played it extensively. I don't know.
So, like-
I was all right with the worlds. I actually, you know.
Okay, but I guess like in that sense, like what is your feel with like open world games in that way?
So, I mean, the one that was really coming to mind, again, because I'm currently playing it on stream with Jack, Dragon Age Inquisition. Yeah, Inquisition. That is one that I would say does that zone-based open world badly.
Oh,
yes.
No,
Yes.
so Dragon Age Inquisition is doing borrowing from the other major genre of zone-based RPGs, which is MMOs.
Yes.
And those are not. Let's just say level design and like zone design is not necessarily a priority in those games.
Like the exception to that, in my opinion, has been Guild Wars 2, which I think has been a very authored zone area. Like it's a very zone They do a very authored zones. And also Guild Wars 2 really emphasizes exploring its zones.
And also Guild Wars 2 is like almost 20 years old.
Yeah. Again, I played it in college.
Yeah.
Over 12 years ago?
Oh god. But yeah, I think it's an interesting. It's interesting that you bring up Hitman, because it does get me thinking. Is that the idea of like a highly curated, each zone being highly curated and its own little world? I think it's one of those things that just sadly, due to the difficulty of actually doing it, is why you don't see it as much.
Right. I mean, God, I was just trying to think of like one that like was like this is why people didn't like Final Fantasy 13, the first one, as much, because it was trying to like make that little like that balance. But
It was trying to be zone-based, but it just failed.
yeah, well, it didn't do it as well as it needed to, and people were just coming off of, in the Final Fantasy space, off of 12, which was like these large, expansive zones.
You know what? Now that you mention it, I feel like 12 is probably one of the... is closer to the ideal for me. Because I agree that on an individual level, Hitman's levels are great, but I don't think that would work for an RPG, just because they're not interconnected enough to make it feel fluid.
So, I think this is the other game I was thinking of. Yakuza.
Oh, yes.
Like, the Yakuza worlds are one of those ones that, like, it's easy to lose yourself in those.
Yeah. Honestly,
And, like-
I could just run around the areas in those. Certainly in Zero, I could just run around and do all sorts of bullshit there. Happily.
Right, and I think part of, like, what makes that work isn't that it's, like, a very large open world. It's because it's a very tight design.
Density is a
author.
factor, definitely.
Yeah, and, like, you're always running into something, and also you're also forced to learn the space and learn how to traverse it.
I think we've come upon the crux of the issue, is that open world is not inherently a bad thing. However,
I mean,
most games
Spider-Man.
focus too. Yeah, so I think most games focus too much on the open and not enough on the world. If you know what I'm saying.
Yes.
Right. I mean,
Like, any open world game that just has vast tracts of empty space that exist only to add travel time, with perhaps the exception of Spider-Man, because traveling is one of the fun parts of that game.
Yes.
or, like, so, here, counterpoint, Breath of the Wild, and more recently, Season.
I'm not a fan of
Well,
Breath of the Wild, but like, what were you saying? Yes. Sorry.
so the point of the thing about Breath of the Wild, and, like, I have my qualms about Breath of the Wild too, but, like, it leans into its, the fact that it is an open world space, because it is this, like, you're supposed to feel the emptiness. That is a part of what it makes the story of it tick.
Yes, and here's the thing. I kind of agree, but I also kind of disagree, because that, at that point, is using a Watsonian characteristic to excuse a Doylean one.
Okay, that's fair. But
Because,
I think,
yes, it makes sense in the context of the world from an internal perspective, but at the same time, the devs are the ones who have control over that.
right, I guess
So
in my
the-
head, it's more like I want, like, if you're gonna have, like, a very expansive of, like, this, like, empty, vast open world, at least make a point of it in your story. Or at least lean into it a little bit, you know what I mean?
I mean, by that logic, it does make a certain amount of sense with Ghostwire Tokyo, because, you know, everyone got raptured, but, like,
Right.
to the bad place.
I mean, I still bounced off of, what's that game called? Off of Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, no, but, like, yeah, Breath of the Wild is an interesting case study in that, because it's just, like, you can make it work,
So then how?
but what you have to remember is that these games tend to be long, even if you just shotgun the story content. And that, like, thematic... What's the opposite of dissonance? Cohesion,
Resonance?
I guess?
Co-
Yeah, that level of thematic cohesion is gonna wear off after the first few hours.
Oh
So-
yeah, this guy.
Uh-huh. Fun. He's a fun guy. He's a nice, perfectly reasonable chap.
Definitely not an edgelord looking like that.
No, not at all.
Thus
Definitely-
far in Tales of Arise, have you come across any of the problematic TM characters?
I mean, just a lot of, like, weird opinions about slavery and revolution.
Oh no.
It-
Weird how? Because that's
Well-
a very, very,
To be fair, none of the characters we're supposed to like have advocated for keeping the slavery.
Cannabelt?
No. So, like, in terms of, weird in that a revolution, like, people who are at the brink of revolution wouldn't be saying the things that some of them are saying.
He took them out with a single slice.
like, give me an example, because, like, this is my first time jumping in.
So
okay?
there are a variety of characters who are
yeah.
willing to be more forgiving to the Renans than
Zephyr needs us.
would be expected.
Ah, I see.
That
So
night
it's
the
like a
show's
bit,
nice and grand.
It's
He's not a lord.
it's a
It
bit
is very much
saccharine.
No idea.
yes.
I've
It
never
is
seen
baby.
anybody
It
like
is very
him.
much
Well,
baby's
he
first
definitely doesn't seem to
revolutionary
be a friend,
manifesto.
that's for sure.
Hopefully we don't run into him again.
In the way that Steven Universe is like a initial like a children's show version, or like a children's show attempt at talking around and about abuse.
And also, look, don't get me started on Steven Universe.
But just as an overall.
Yes, no, overall, it is, but yes, it is very much baby's first forgive war criminals because they're related to you series.
Yes. But
I
like
can't.
Tales
still
of
can't
Arise,
get them.
I thought I thought that was Harry Potter.
oh buddy. Harry Potter doesn't excuse war criminals, they make out
Celebrate
with
them.
They make them out to be heroes because they had a weird crush on their moms.
Yes. But like Tales of Arise is like very much like it is mass appeal revolutionary manifesto. And so like I'm glad the game got made, and I'm glad the story is being told the way it is, because a game like this wouldn't even get
There
any
it is.
kind of reading,
Cyslodia.
especially coming
What's with
from
those beams of light?
traditionally
They
conservative
don't
Japan.
strike me as your everyday streetlights.
I was actually talking to someone about this the other day.
You'll see what I mean.
Is-
when we get there.
Again, are you familiar with Record of
What's on your
Lodos
mind?
War?
Yes.
And how it was Critical Role before it was cool?
Right after we
Yes.
beat Zolsef.
And how it's that property's fault that a lot of the Japanese fantasy is so homogenous across the board?
Yes.
Is it really a coincidence?
Okay, now we've got that out of the
I
way.
think it was a trap.
What do you think are the root causes between Japanese media's just
But no.
generally very
Perhaps an unwitting pawn.
odd and oftentimes troubling
What?
opinions
All
on
this to
slavery?
capture Zephyr?
It's because
Well-
they haven't
All I know
like
is it all
interacted
slots
with it the
together
same
a
way
little
we have
too
in
It's
the
much
because
West.
it's a
for my
step
liking.
removed, right?
Yeah.
That's the conclusion
Japan-
I came to as well.
Japan never really had slavery in the same way that we did.
So how do we get inside?
Right, they never had chattel slavery.
Yes.
We can't just march into the Viper's
Right,
nest
like,
through the front
they
door,
had-
surely.
Serfdom.
Like, They had
There's a secret
serfdom,
passage near
they
the
had
spring on the
indentured
outskirts of the
servitude, they
city.
had prisoners
We
of
can
war.
get in through there.
And those things are basically global, and those things are kind of
I
just
hate camping out.
sadly very much part of the.
And also, like, the horrors of slavery is
Something's
very
over there.
similar, like, let's be honest, like, very similar to horrors committed during wartime,
Hey,
particularly
didn't we
by
find
the
a recipe?
Japanese against the
we can use
Chinese
this
and
for it.
Koreans.
Look, there was a lot of war crimes happening,
There was,
and
but,
that
like,
happened twice.
Did you know
Which I'm sure
every,
didn't help
every
matters.
time the British and the Americans dropped a bomb during World War II, it was a war crime.
yes.
I don't think there were any non-war crimes committed during
No, there weren't.
the first
But
the two world wars. I almost said first two world wars, but I stopped myself just because I can hope, I suppose.
I mean, I
At least I can
want
hope to
to
see number 3.
clarify that statement because during my actually it was during my final assignment as an undergrad. I was looking. It was for a module called Laws of War, and
What's going on? Why did the
ended
weather
up looking
change
at
all of a
some of
sudden?
the
Snow's gone.
treaties
doesn't even feel
signed
cold anymore.
between
oh,
the.
you're in the best area, Mel.
Yeah,
Welcome
I'm in
to
the
the cow.
I'm in the owl forest. I'm just while I'm talking,
Oh,
I don't want to start anything, but and yeah, in like I think it was in like 1907. Britain and America signed an agreement, and were the only ones to sign an agreement that said dropping explosives from like aerial, basically from the air, is a war crime, and it was supposed to be like discussed at the next like peace conference. Unfortunately, the next peace conference was in 1914, or meant to be, and things sort of got out of hand at that point.
Things happened. Look, things happened. We're fed.
But because of that
People
was
were
still,
assassinated.
that was still on the books when World War II started. So any time that the Americans and the British dropped bombs on people, it was a war crime, technically.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And obviously, you know, the nukes were a whole mess of war crimes, frankly.
What is this place?
I see something big.
You're about to
further
meet
in.
the best characters in
Is that
Tales
a
of Arise.
No, an owl?
Hoodle doesn't seem too
Fuzzy, you
worried,
beat the
so
best
it's
characters in
probably
a
not
Tales
hostile.
game.
Let's go see what's up then. Stay sharp.
Approach the large owl. Hello?
That owl is quite superb.
It is.
Very dapper mustache.
And it fell into a pile of junk.
I don't get it.
Best
Why
bit.
has it suddenly started giving
This is a
us
good
things?
bit.
Hey, is that owl beckoning us over?
I think it is. It's the owl we rescued before.
Okay, I love the owls, but I'm
thanking us for
not so
saving a
much a fan
friend.
of the dub voices, so I'm just gonna
Mute.
mute that once again.
This one isn't just bigger than Hoodle, though.
Ah,
Something about it seems almost regal. Don't you think?
I don't know. The crown
What
isn't
if it
that
was the
regal.
king of the owls?
Would that
The
make
Owl
the other
King?
one the
Are
queen?
those chess crowns?
You think so?
maybe.
Yes, they're clearly a
Do they
pair.
live in a house?
Don't. Again, too soon.
Look, I'm still reading Owl House fanfiction to get by.
Is this some
Look,
kind
I'm
of
not that desperate, but
owl
still,
sanctuary?
too soon.
It's such a big place, though. I wonder if those two were living here all alone until we rescued that owl.
But I'm
I
also
thought no other
frustrated
owls existed,
because, you know,
but here they
I
are.
want
the king
stuff
and
with
queen
those
by the looks of
fucking time skip designs, but
You
there
never
isn't
know what
any
other ones
because
might
it's
be
too
out there
soon.
until we look for 'em. It's not like you were searching the whole world over yourself, right, Rinwell?
Or at the very
I
least,
mean,
in terms
yeah.
of long form
I guess
stuff.
you've got a point. Hey, Hoodle. How about we find more of your friends and tell them about this place? It can be a little side mission on our trip, if that's okay.
Yeah, we're gonna steal stuff from
That's
the
fine
owls
with me.
anyway.
We'll
Might
find
as well
as
tell
many
them
as we
about this
can.
place.
Thank you.
How does Hoodle stay
Oh.
aloft? Those are
Mhm.
very
Don't
small wings.
question it.
Those are very
Don't
small
mind me.
wings for a fat body.
Ready to move on?
Okay, so I guess they didn't do it. There's a bit that with this that Shion and Alphen do that I think is very fun. I think if you talk to them. Yes, now you'll probably get it. Welcome back, Fuzzy. Everything okay?
Yeah, no, I just like multiple device shenanigans disconnected me from the thing. Oh, on a side note, on the subject of Hitman, I am taking. Oh my God! It's actually the course is up. The summer course I'm taking this semester is Assassins, International Crime, and Disaster.
Oh, fun.
That sounds cool.
I believe it's in the forensics department, which I'm allowed to take stuff from, so...
You sense one of your pals, Hoodle?
I won't ruin the bit, Mill. It's a good bit.
Ooh, I actually do quite like the black.
Right?
Oh no. I've just looked at the... I've just looked at the course announcement, and apparently the one required text is on the Kennedy assassination, so...
Heck, we even have
Look,
members
it's
working on the
fine.
guys gathering intel for us.
I promise I won't
Involves a
do
lot
it
of double
again.
It does.
Jesus.
But it keeps
You
us
kill
alive
one
one step
Kennedy
ahead.
one time.
That other Kennedy as well, but he was a smartass.
Look,
You pissed me off and...
look, you joke about it, but like, I'm 90% sure there's gonna be conspiracy theorists coming out the woodworks. Especially if this is a discussion-based course.
Something you wanted to say?
What college is this at? Like, is it at a... Are you... Not to, dox you, but... Is this like a community college, or is this like a four-year university type thing?
It's a full-on 4-year university.
Okay, so then you might not get crazies.
You say that, but
Well,
I still remember
less
to this
likely.
day. I remember to this day last year. Well, it wasn't that long. Last year, in my cognitive psychology course, day 1, someone brought up Jordan Peterson, and I'm just like, but why? Thankfully, the professor, who was otherwise very cheerful, but also very pregnant woman.
Shocker that she didn't enjoy Jordan Peterson.
Yeah, it was just shut that down straight away. Yes.
Good. We're counting on you, Rinwell.
Just like that is not considered scientific material in this course.
Yeah, I guess I went to like a bunch of liberal schools, so we didn't really have that problem.
But here's the thing. I thought my school was pretty liberal, but it does have a... It's in that weird place where it's relatively socially progressive, but also has a very, like, a significant religious population. It's not any one religion, but there's just I did see a lot of, like, in the past couple of years, I did see a lot of it. I think this might have actually increased during the pandemic times, which is a scary thing to think about, but I did see a lot of people being like, I've got nothing against insert minority group, but usually the LGBTQIA plus community, but also but religion, though. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I get you.
A lot of those people came crawling out of the woodworks, and I'm just like...
Again, I'm on the east coast of the United States, in the Northeast, and I work in pharmaceuticals.
Hey, Rinwell.
So...
What are you doing here? If the snake eyes spot you here, they'll...
So you
My
did make
uni
it
was
back
pretty
alive.
much fine, I think.
Man, am I glad to see you safe.
Barely.
Yeah, but you're also,
When
like,
we all
in the
got
UK.
separated, I thought...
It was also
They're fine.
before,
They all got
you know,
back
I
in.
finished right as the pandemic started, so
That's true.
it was before things started to get really, really, really bad.
You gonna introduce me?
Meet Alphen and Shion.
Yeah, the pandemic kind of,
Brought them with me
like...
from Calaglia.
Turns out getting stuck at home is bad for a lot of people's mental health. I didn't really feel it myself, but, like...
We
There
were
would
like this before.
Well,
There would definitely...
Yes, no, we were already like that, but, like, apparently some people just decided to go down internet rabbit holes that should be purged.
Well, I mean, that's the thing, you know, people who would otherwise have spent time with friends in real life were suddenly stuck only on the internet, and, you know, they got the brainworms.
That does pretty much describe exactly how that goes, huh?
Not to mention, you know, again, a lot of these people came out of the woodwork during the pandemic. A lot more than they did, you know, prior, I would say.
Do you feel like part of that was that they realized they had a much more viable audience?
Well, they had a captive audience.
Yes, that's what I meant by viable. They kind of just realized, oh, people are stuck at home. They have no choice but to be on the internet, so I guess they can cast wide nets, I suppose. Oh, I gotta go for a second. Hang on.
Say no more. That astral energy was incredible.
I gave it everything I had.
Oh yeah, again, I've been listening to the Taskmaster podcast still, and I've was reminded of something that I think you'll find funny. So you know how in Series 7,
Yes.
Phil Wang put himself up for a prize task?
Yes.
And James Acaster won him? Well,
Yes.
apparently James's young nephews got into Taskmaster and now believe that Phil actually belongs to James.
I love this so much.
And so whenever, like, Phil and James meet up, they'll, like, take a picture, like, Phil is escaping or something like that, and they'll be like, you gotta catch him, this isn't allowed.
I love this for them, honestly.
Yeah.
That's nice. I like that.
They also apparently, within, like, 5 minutes of meeting Nish, started kicking his shins and bullying him.
Aww. But that's kind of the thing you do with Nish.
Yeah.
And I like Nish a lot.
No, so do I. I love Nish. But
It really is the thing you do when you meet him.
yeah.
Right. No time to hold back. You're finished.
Where are you going?
Here I come.
I mean, again, you know, this is stuff I'm getting from an episode with James and Ed Gamble, who are both friends, along with Nish. Like they're all of a generation, you know, lived together, did gigs together.
Right.
So they're all very good friends, and so they just love telling these stories. I mean, you know, usually the podcast episodes are about an hour long. The one with James is an hour 20.
An opponent like this should be easy.
Yeah, that sounds right. And like, James also just strikes me as the type of person to be like, yeah, of course we're gonna talk about this stuff.
I mean, to be fair, Ed and James have another podcast together called Off Menu.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Where they, like, I think they go into, like, a guest's, like, favorite foods and, like, their perfect menu sort of thing. I'm not sure. I haven't actually listened to it yet, though I do want to.
Just real quick, I have hit my hard stop, so I'm gonna have to head out.
Alright.
Okay.
It's been nice, though.
Yeah.
Nice talking for so long again.
Yeah, it's been a minute. We should do this again.
Yeah, I'll talk to you guys later. I'll be more available for streams now as well, so talk to you. Bye-bye.
Alright, see
See
you.
ya. We should probably call it soon, too. It's about almost 10 o'clock my time.
Alright, we'll do this, we'll finish this combat and then we'll call it a day.
I'm not done. Be still. I'm not done. Mirage. No escape. Burn it. That gun is real handy in a pinch.
It takes a true marksman to use.
What?
This ends now!
Consider yourself
What?
finished. This should make for some good weapon crafting material.
Alright, let's get back to the camp. I know there was a camp. I think there was a camp. But yeah, the podcast was also where the idea that Phil Wang just Winnie the Pooh'd around, just wandering around, slowly taking things in.
That sounds like a Phil Wang thing.
Yeah. And it was, like, whenever there was a timed thing, he just never moved with urgency. Also, oh god, I can't believe I forgot this one. So you know Phil Wang's task outfit,
Yes.
the Bruce Lee Game of Death thing.
Yes.
He didn't actually know it was that revealing.
Of course he didn't. Otherwise he wouldn't have worn it.
He didn't realize until the team tasks, which was after he'd done all of his tasks.
Yeah.
And until that moment that we see when Rod and James see him and just go, "Have you seen Phil's genitals yet?"
I'm surprised Alex didn't say anything.
Well, that's the thing. He said that all the crew were smirking throughout his solo task efforts. They knew. They 100% knew, but thought it would be funnier not to say.
That's amazing.
Because there's no way they could have missed it with Phil turning up for his first task, everything hanging loose. And if they wanted to say something, they would have said it.
Right.
They would have said it then and let him change. But no, they went, "No, this is going to be fucking hilarious."
To be fair, it was.
No, it absolutely was. If you're wondering what we're talking about, just Google Phil Wang Taskmaster, and you will see.
Truly one of the funniest bits of comedy.
Maybe the worst, in the best way possible, the worst costume on Taskmaster.
Easily the funniest, though.
Yeah. Though Fern Brady did say that she was trying to rival Phil's with hers, so look forward to that when you get Series 14.
Which I think might be coming out soon.
That's good. It is a really good series.
Well, I say that because Season 13 just finished. So, I don't know if they're just going to go right into 14.
Yeah.
Or not, but we should be getting that soon.
It's just about whether they want to pace themselves, whether they want to make the international audience wait as long as the British audience does between series. Because they might decide to just stagger it a little bit.
Right. So, my partner and I are going to find out at some point, but...
But yeah, I think that's where we're going to end it. It is a bit of a shorter one, but we started late, and we're all tired. Tired in general.
Life is exhausting.
It really is. So thank you everybody for watching. Hopefully you've enjoyed. In terms of future stuff, Saturday will be the spring 2023 3+ episode check-in for anime. Sunday, no D&D, but we might be doing what was it called again?
King of the Castle, I think.
King of the Castle, yeah. We might be doing that. Certainly, I'm down for it.
We can try to grab. Who's the one that's out? It's not Kaido, right? It's Dylan.
It's Dylan, yeah.
So we might be able to grab Kaido for that.
Yeah. So look forward to that. Tuesday, hopefully we should be getting back to Arcade Spirits, and then next Thursday, actually, I think we're doing Falcon and the Winter Soldier for the Paradox Hour.
Okay. We'll talk off mic about this, but I might be a little late to that, so I have a doctor's appointment.
It's fine. Yeah, no worries about that. So yeah, thank you again for watching. Please do give us a follow here on Twitch and on Twitter at Storytime_net, as long as, Twitter lasts. Musk seems intent on running it into the ground for his own amusement.
At this point, the question is, what are we going to do about that?
I mean, it's very easy now to know who to block, because everyone with a blue tick mark who, actually replies, you're probably safe blocking them. There are some people I'm giving a pass to in terms of they probably need the added visibility for their careers.
Or they're celebrities.
Or they're celebrities over 1 million followers who Musk has given it to, because, he's got a try and make it not look like a leper's mark.
I mean, that's too late.
Oh no,
honestly.
it's 100% too late, but that's what Musk is. He makes decisions way, way too late.
I mean, Brill keeps changing his name so that he doesn't have to get out of the checkmark.
Yeah, like
Which I think is the funniest thing.
it's already a pariah's thing. So, but yeah, most of the time, if somebody's got a blue check mark, you can probably, safely say they're an asshole who you should block.
Right.
And because they go to the top of all replies, it makes it easy to find them and block them.
And also they also tend to have the worst opinions.
Oh yeah, again, it's very easy for me to just go on a tweet about trans people and just go into replies and just start blocking the blue check marks.
It's the new anime profile picture.
They will all be assholes. I can almost guarantee that they will be assholes.
Yeah, I mean, it is the new anime in the profile picture.
Yeah. But yes, so again, thank you everybody for watching, and hopefully we will see you on Saturday for the Spring 2023 Anime 3+ episode check-in. Good night.
Good night.